Yeller, old Yeller, old Yeller.
Hold on, let's get the carburetor. What did I do with it? All right, got the carburetor from yesterday. Looks good. Okay, everything's working. You know, nothing. I didn't put a lot of clear on, just a little bit. All right, and keep it nice. Wow, that's stuck. This is. Wow, this is stuck. You seeing this? All right, so this is all stuck. All right, so we got to try to get that moving again. I'll take some of my tranny fluid mix. I usually just put gasoline in it, but you can use lacquer thinner. A lot of people use acetone, but that stuff is really nasty product. Lacquer thinner has acetone in it. And gas is very similar. It's a little safer. Let's just see. Yeah, she wants to go. There we go. Let's get a little bit more in. That's why I'm glad I pressure wash and I put acids on and stuff, because that getting the dirt and junk out of the way and being able to see it. Look at that. It's just starting to work. Yeah. All right, guys, we got that. Let's try a little bit of this product too. But you know, a lot of times oil. If I go with my tranny fluid mix first and then I just add motor oil, you know, the old standby, I'm telling you, that stuff works really well for so many things. Just oil. Years ago, is what they used on everything. Oh, it's all I had, Arch. No, you know, but it worked well. Now, it still does. Want to take that off? Yeah. Let's take that off. Maybe we just need to clean it. I try to pass on all this knowledge. Like I started doing this as a hobby because diabetes almost killed me twice. Just messed me up. That's what screwed up my teeth. The doctors can't believe I'm alive. So I'm like, you know what? Let's pass on some of this stuff before I kick the bucket. I think what's supposed to happen here is it should be able to move, and it's not supposed to be bolted in like this. It might have needed something with a shank on it so that it could spin and have a positive stop. So what you would see, because this is what controls the throttle, see, it's got to do this. So in this, let me get that out of our way. So I'm assuming, right, you can see that. Let me get my hands out of the way. My hand out of the way? Probably not. Right, so that's got to move. So what do I have? Let me see what I have that I can put in there that I can still tighten. That kind of wants to tighten up. See, it's turning it. You want to get something in there, maybe even something that bottoms out and that allows that to move. So let me see what I can come up with. I need something with a little shank on the end of it. Okay, I put just a longer 1/4-20 bolt in it. Now we may want to even lock that up too for now. So it's still going to provide what we're looking for. It's a little bent over here. I should bend that out a little bit too. But it seems like it's okay. This is our point, so we don't care about that right now. All right, so I got everything cleaned up. So here's the plan. So we don't have any vent for here. We want oil to go up in there, and if we get this thing running, we want to run it, it's going to really pee out. And I don't feel like going to look at some of the other motors. They're kind of buried. So while I'm here, I took one from a smaller 5.5 horsepower engine. And of course it doesn't fit. And then what I did was I drilled a hole on this side. This is the baffle side. So hopefully, okay, it will baffle to some degree. Probably need to seal that up. What I'm thinking is that we'll bolt this on using the bolts and some washers, prop it up, and I'll take a bead of silicone, I'll run it around the outside, and then I'll continue working on the carburetor installation. And maybe by then, by the time I go ready to fire it a little later, it'll be dry enough, and if it leaks, it'll leak, but at least it'll vent, because you got to vent it, otherwise you'll blow the motor up. Or you can't just put a cover over that. Or if that doesn't work, then we'll have to make a plate with a hole in it, no baffle. And of course then oil will be peeing out. So I gotta do something, right? So maybe I'll just try this first And maybe in my travels this week or whatever, as I have time, maybe I'll find the right one, or we can order one, or I can find one on, you know, eBay or something. We'll put a little extra gasket sealer on this. These are the caulk and rubber, but they're a little old, so I'm just going to put a little Skrilla snot on it. I'll make another one. I got my gaskets, so I'm going to take some of this stuff, this Gorilla Snot, and I'm just going to liquor everything up a little bit. Just butter it. Just put a little, I clean this up good, and I put a little high heat primer on it. Okay, kind of pulls on the carburetor a little bit, or this spring assembly. Let's see. Probably should have just not put the gasket seal on one side so we get it back apart again, but if we have to make more gaskets, we will. New hardware, because the hardware they had was too short. I don't know, one was even shorter than the other, one of the bolts, so I put some just 0 grade. We don't need anything fancy on here. A little bit of anti-seize. They were just way too short. Hold on the throttle. It should pull back. All right, I cleaned off this whole surface, the threads and everything, and even this pull start cup. And I checked the key, so the key looks like it's okay. The only thing I got to do now is I got to mount this. Got to find the hardware for that. I'll mount that on there. I got a kill switch on. It should be set up to fire, so I just tapped in over here where the points cover was. I checked it with the ohm meter. We're into the plug, so she's in the run mode right now. I put a little mark on it too. And everything is tight there. This is where I'm running the cable for now. The wires. We'll get that on. I got a little feed for the carburetor for gas. We'll fill that with some 2-stroke. And then regular gas, we'll get us started on that. And we'll be done, we'll be ready to fire. We'll try. And also got out some heavy rope that I had, full start rope. We gotta find out what the length is, and I gotta drill out a blue handle. So we're almost there. All right, we got one more thing to do. I got the plug out, and we wanna kinda get a feel for the length of this cord. So I'm just kind of wrapping it around. I think it's too long, and that's my bet right now, is that it's probably way too long, but let's just feel it. Yeah. So let me wrap it around a few times, because you want it to be able to come off, and you don't want it too long because it could get caught up and you could have issues. You want to try to get it through a full pull. And so that's what I'm going to work on now. I'm going to cut that, trim it, and then I'll tie it off. And then we'll put the plug back and we'll fill it with some fuel. Okay, before we put any fuel in the carburetor, let's see if she kicks at all. All right, we'll put a little bit of fuel down. I got a little bit down in the plug area, and we'll tickle it in here. All right, it's going to pee out, but let's just see if she kicks. You ready? Oh boy. She gonna stink. Wow, she gonna smoke everything up in here. You wanna wheel it outside? All right, I don't have the strength to wheel it outside, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try it. I put a little fuel in the carburetor, and hopefully she'll suck something up. If not, I'm running out of here, and I'm leaving you guys in a heartbeat. Here we go. Wants to do something. Oh, we gotta check the oil. Hold on. Remember we spilled a lot of oil? Yeah, we gotta put more oil in it. And it's nasty too in there. Yeah, it's like rusty nonsense. Let me get a little more oil in it too. I know. All right, I got some oil in it. What I need is an electric start. I'm getting tired, so I can't do much more. I'm too tired after everything I did today. I'm gonna get my glasses on so that I don't get anything in my eyes from that exhaust. All right, leave it on a little bit of choke. All right, I'm gonna try to hit it again. Not too bad. A little more fuel in it. We'll bottle feed it if we have to. She wants to run, but you know, she hasn't run in so long. Those valves probably need to come out. So, even though she got decent compression, they may not be sealing well. All right. Put a little bit of gas in, and then it's going to drip. A lot of it's going to drip out, and then a spritz, and then we'll see if we can bottle feed it. Oh. All right, I had to kill it. You saw those sparks, right? We gotta take that generator off. Woo! Yeah, that generator, something happened. We hit a wire or something. That generator can still be saved, but we gotta get that generator off before we can continue to run it. She wants to run. She's a runner. She was on her own, right? She still wanted to run. Yeah, they. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty psyched. I do not know what the heck happened there. So, that was some decent current. And I got to play it back. Hopefully I caught more of it. She was starting to make power. She sounded good. She's getting some heat into her. So, will it run? Yeah, it runs. All right, we'll play with it again. Maybe we'll take a look at the generator pack and we'll try and pull it off, and then maybe we can run the engine just the way it is. But as you can see, right, the coil pack, I don't know if the timing is correct. We won't know until we get it running. This is no good, right? In fact, here I have a solution. This was on there. It's just a piece of cut hose. So I can put this back for now. It was in a different location, but how convenient it is right now to be right here. And then we'll put a couple of tie wraps in there and hold it in place. You know, maybe we'll take it outside or something. We'll see. I'm just a little concerned about fire in the shop, right? You know, fire outside is one thing, but fire in the shop, especially electrical, I was a little concerned about that. But we have a runner. This coil pack should be, you know, working well for us. If we have to adjust timing, I got to figure out how to do that. Most of my meters are for cars and everything, but I think there's a way we can recalibrate for that, and we can figure timing on it. But we're going to continue. I'll be back in a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be on this video or how we're going to do it. I would like to put a little more footage of it running in this video before we go further. But I'm tired for tonight, guys, and so I'm going to sign off. I'll see you guys, I guess, hopefully shortly. Maybe I'll fool around a little bit more tomorrow night. Get it! All right, I managed to square off some time today, just for this weekend, a little bit here and there. I'm thinking, I know it's bolted in here, and a lot of the newer ones, you have to take all this out a lot of times to get this assembly together. But I don't know if that's the case with this one. Yeah, this bolt will take the fan off, but this bracket's welded. This bracket is bolted, but I don't think any of that is a problem. Let's loosen these up. Let me attack those and see if this whole assembly slips this way, and then this part of the housing is bolted to the engine. So that's what we're going to work on today. And then I have another little surprise, big idea. I got a big idea I'm going to try out. So let me work on that first, and we'll see how it pans out. Might want to get my lead hammer, loosen it up. It's not going to go. It's stuck on there. It's big and heavy, so it's not going to go anywhere so fast. All right, it's moving. Slowly getting it. Kind of damaging it a little bit, but not bad. So just taking, this is my training mix. Right, so it's transmission fluid and fuel. All right, I think I got it. Took the fan nut off. It'll come off. All right, and now watch. Might want to lower it down and stand over it. Okay, come out. So I think we're going to be able to get it. That's why I say if I lower it down, I could probably wiggle it off without breaking anything, you know, rather than do it up here. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to be where my foot's going to get it. I think we could just peel it back. Yeah, she's coming. Here, I'll get you. Make this pinch. Here it comes. All right, now. That's it. All right, we got it. Yeah, these can be re-wrapped. They're not bad. And as long as there's no breaks, you ohm them out, you'll see. Electronics can be replaced. Let's see if we can just kind of sneak this out of the way. If that's possible. Oh, that's a problem. A lot heavier than I thought. There's no good place to grab it. There we go. Almost. Oh my. Oh yeah. That's a lot of weight. All right, we'll get that on the floor on a hand truck. And then we'll bring this back up. That's some kind of a shield or something. This one broke loose, I guess in a good way. Let's see if we can get this one. Like Allen sockets or something. Let's see. Try to make sure it's on there good. Oh, that one went good. That's cool. It's like almost like a brake caliper bolt. That's kind of neat. Boy, they made things differently back then, didn't they? That's what's kind of like the cool thing about this. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if like McMaster-Carr even had some stuff. But watching this girl do this, like she finds replacement stuff, she makes it. I think she's Korean. Yeah, thank you. Now we should be able to see what's going on. This thing's heavy. You know, they really made stuff. All right, I'll get you guys in here in a minute. That collar goes all the way. It's like it's part of that shaft. It goes all the way, and I think it might be part of this rotor here. And this little piece here, I think that's that might just be a pry point, you know, to get everything apart once you take these bolts off. So the options are, let me think about what the options are. There's nothing here that's so wrong that it can't be cleaned up and fixed properly and put together. The electronics on the top of that are old and beat. But like I said in the beginning, I think I have another, you know, set of electronics for that. Rewrapping those coils is not a big deal, and the lines that are coming out of it, you can splice into those and re-insulate them and clean them up if it's possible. That's down the road. This looks like the shaft assembly is designed for a generator, this generator setup. So this motor is purposed based upon this output section here. I think what we should do is maybe, we could run it like this. I don't see why. It might be a little dangerous though, having a big thing sticking out like that. So maybe we can just run this a little bit more and maybe make it idle or something. So my idea is I want to put on, I got some stuff here. I got a throttle and I got a kill switch. I want to make something where I can make this sort of a run and stand. Let me make those pieces up and decide what I want to do. I think with a throttle, if we can rig a throttle up somehow on it, I'll have a throttle for other motors, place to mount the throttle, place to mount an ignition switch, put some more fuel in it, we'll tie it up and we'll run it one last time, and then we can go in here and see what's going on there. We also got to get the oil out of it. That got water in it, so we got to pull this oil out, put a little bit more used oil into it so that we're not running gack in there. So let me take a look at that. So this rod, I got a vice grip on it. This is the adjustment for the throttle. And what was on here was a solenoid, and I think this was an electrically operated, essentially like an idle down kind of thing, or an idle up, maybe under load, right? It's energized, it pulls up on the solenoid, lifting up, because I noticed that that would make sense, because when you lift up on this, it makes the spring tighter, and the throttle, it's pulling up on the throttle more. At least that's what I think is happening. So what we want to do is remove it. That's why I say there's a lot of this old school tech. So if we remove it, using a newest system obviously is by far better. These are the old mechanical setups. It's not that they're bad, it's just that if you want something that's more reliable, right, you want to go with something newer. Well, I think if we just remove this, I can tie in with this cable assembly down here and hook it on something. So I'm going to find a different one. So either this one or another one, maybe one with a Z bend on it. Let me see what I come up with, and then just have something that I can. Z bend's probably better. A solid style cable. That way, no matter whatever motor, because most of the Briggs motors and a lot of these motors, they have an assembly on them that you can tie into that has a Z bend location, and it's all set up with springs, and you can take them off of motors that have them and put them on motors that don't have them. Takumi has that on the snow blowers. It's a panel that sits over here. It's usually a little nylon piece as well. It's got the kill on it, throttle control. Yeah, because I was not getting an idle before. Yeah, it's a little sticky. All right, I'm going to work this out, and I'll show you what I come up with. I'm going to have to rebend that. I think I bent that a little bit. Yeah, all right, I'm going to work on that. Pull up on the rod, it tightens that spring, opens up the throttle more. So this is how we're going to actuate it with a throttle cable. And we'll just fix this up. It's a little bit beat, and I'll make it work proper. All right, so I've managed to get a kind of a cool cable set up. So we have this, which I forget which direction does what. We got a nice little switch with there's an O and a dash. I think one would think O would be like on, but no, it's German. It's O for often, and I maybe is for iffen. The handle, that works pretty good. So I mounted that on there, and so let me see. So I think this, if you pull back, I think that's idle, and if you push forward, yeah, see, it's applying a lot of force, all right, to the throttle, hold it open. Pulling against the force of the governor, right, governor? I also thought it'd be a nice idea to change the oil, since I took a peek in there and it looks like absolute rest of puke. And I figured while I was there, it'd just make a really big mess and spill it all over the place. Now, that's not good. That's a problem. That means there was a lot of rust that was hiding in there, hiding from us the first time, and that's probably damaged the inside of the motor. In fact, there's something like a noise right here. I just don't like this feel of it. Also, there's not a lot of compression now. So I think this motor is a good core. We're going to want to take it apart and take a peek inside, and maybe we'll finish up that way. I think now's a good time to let it trip a little bit longer. I'm going to put some fresh oil in it, and well, we're going to put some fresh used oil in it. That way we can run it. Although this does not look safe, you're probably right, it's not, but it should suffice. If we get this tube full enough and keep it full, we should be able to run this thing in, even though when we go to refill it, we'll be spraying fuel very close to a very hot muffler, probably shooting sparks out. But if we can get it to idle, then at least we can make some adjustments and see if this carburetor is any good. And if we can keep our fingers and toes away from everything and not get hit by flying debris, connecting rods and crankshafts and rotors, yeah, we have a kill switch. It will ultimately run out of fuel. And if I bring it outside, which I hate doing because it just is so much energy and effort, hopefully we don't set anything on fire and hot oil doesn't ventilate out of the block with gigantic holes put in there by things that are breaking. I think overall we're doing pretty good. All right, so we'll be back in a little bit and we'll give it a shot. Well, it's a lot lighter, right, because I'm not towing around the generator too, which that's the real heavy part. Let's give it a tickle of gas and put some choke on it. And I have the throttle down, so even if it starts, it shouldn't do very much. But if it does, I'm running. I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna try some hot shot. Yeah, she's old and maybe it just burned out. Oh, we also did shut it off. I might want to clean the plug. We shut it off by over-richening it. It was running black, so that might be a problem. Let's get some hot shot in it. It's got a decent amount of oil in it. It's pretty much full. Oh boy, it pulled back on me. Yeah, that's dangerous, this thing. Yeah. She tried to start, something happened, she pulled back. That you don't want to have happen. That's why I don't know if I like. Alright, I think it might be dead. Let me take a look at the plug. I don't know if you can see, but it's not too bad. It's dry now. And it got fouled. Let me put it back. Put a little, I'm going to tickle it with a little bit of gas. You know, we'll do this. Just a little bit down there to help it out. Maybe that'll be enough to get it to go. And let's make sure we got gas in here. And we'll give it a little bit more throttle. Yeah. And that's more than enough. Wow, see, she's pulling back. See, that's not good. I think maybe it timing bumped or something. I don't know, but if it keeps doing it, I'm gonna stop because I don't want to hurt my wrist and my arm. It's not worth it. You know. it. I think she ran out of fuel. It could be the head gasket leaking over here. Make it a 1/2-inch wrench real quick. No, I don't think we torqued it down. We just wanted to see if she would fire. Well, that's tight. I mean, it really, one way to deal with it is to put a new head gasket on it. It doesn't feel bad. Not like sad or anything. It doesn't feel sad. Did we see any oil coming out? No. So our baffle held up. Carburetor runs okay. You know, the motor's kind of beat and tired. I want to take a look at that oil again. But it's dangerous to start one of these, so not my favorite way to start one of these things. I think we did pretty good. All right, she's a runner. The block might be good. I'm not seeing any oil peeing out anywhere. I think it's about as good as we're going to get, guys. All right, what do you think? I think we're done. Yeah, I think we've proved out the engine. We took a really old, who knows what, generator with a really beat old, kind of who knows what old cast iron Briggs motor, somewhere between 12 and 18 horsepower. Everything was pretty much just tired and shot on it. And we didn't stop there. We kept at it. And this was a lot of work for me, actually. But it was a lot of fun. Had a great time doing it. I think what we have is a potentially a good motor. Somebody's been in it. So somebody worked on it. Something happened to it. As we can see from the marks on the head. And looks like a brand new piston. So we know that's the case. I don't think I showed it, but over here, somewhere right over here where this aluminum piece kind of holds this magnet on. Not too happy with sort of the aluminum ears on the end. Looks like maybe when the rust got in, it pushed it and broke the ears. That this could fall out. I don't know. I really would like to see if there's a way that I can time this. I don't think it's timed. That might be another reason why she's kicking a little bit when we first started, but we're pretty lucky. We're real close. Carburetor seems like okay. I did forget to open up the choke butterfly all the way, so that definitely affected how it was running. But the carburetor does work. Maybe take it apart again and get a rebuild kit for it to use it on another motor. But it's there, it's stable, it's not jammed. Remember, it was all jammed up. Everything was jammed. We figured out how to put a completely different coil on. So I went through that. I think it was at part 2. Again, this is from an E-Series overhead valve, new style coil. So we learned a lot on that. I have a dwell meter and everything. Like, if we were running points, we probably could put points back. What we have here is just a kind of a cool example of an old Briggs motor. It's got some kind of a different output shaft on it, which is most likely unique to this generator, so it can't be used for anything else unless you've got a lathe and or you want to make something. And I think what we really have is possibly a good block, and the only way we're going to know is if we take it all apart, and I think that's for another episode. I think you just put this aside. It was hard kind of turning and adjusting things because the muffler's all blown out and all kinds of junk was just blowing all over here. That's another reason why I had my glasses on. And it may be that it needs a head gasket. It could be the block is a bit warped. I remember when I was first fooling around with it, I'm like, lay your head on. And it seemed like the head was fine when we glassed it or iron plated it. Backyard mill. My assumption, if you put a little backyard valve job on it, it doesn't need to be ground, but maybe a lap, and clean those ports out because they were blocked solid. At least one of them was. So that could affect how it's running. There's a sound that I mentioned to you guys. It's that harsh, and you hear it as I walk over and pan around and come around this side. You hear it. It could just be bad bearings. That's why I say we need to get in it. You get a lot of those old, Massey Ferguson and some of the real old, Cub Cadet or whatever, the ones that weren't using, obviously using Briggs motors, that weren't using Takumi motors. There's quite a number of them that use an engine in this configuration of this size. And it's all pulleys and everything. And a lot of those motors real tired because you're talking 60s and 70s, in some cases even earlier. This would be possibly a good candidate as a parts donor or a block donor if the motor is really worn on. Let's say I come across one of these. I mean, who knows? I didn't think I was going to come across this. So I think that's where we're kind of going to leave it here. It runs good. I think it's a great parts motor for something, possibly a very good block. I'm going to try to leave it intact. I may even pop a few bolts out and put some of the covers and the tins back, pull the oil out of it for storage, just leave this big old honking thing on the side until I get around to maybe taking this off. You know, it's sealed up right now, so if we put a few things back on it, it's not going to, if it got wet, or if I left it outside for a little bit, or just keeping the critters out of it, maybe it's covered somewhere. I think that's the best way to leave it as a running, sealed up motor. Just less the oil, or maybe just leave the oil in it. I don't know. It depends upon where I store it, right? Because if ever you fall and knock it over, there's a lot of oil in here. That would make a big mess. So I think other than that, you know, good parts. You guys know I want this as a running stand, so I want to get inside these axles. I see some weird bolt action. They're not like turned in all the way. I think somebody replaced a tire and just didn't do a good job. So I want to get in here, go through the axles. The tires seem to be holding air now, so I want to make sure that's a good thing. De-rust it, put a little rusty metal primer on it, and then I can work it and do whatever I want if I want to make a different... I have a couple of motors that we actually need to test, and we could test it on this stand if I just clean up and modify the stand. So I think it's another episode for another day. I got this kind of neat... I put the plate on it so it says start and throttle, and we got a switch, and I got real old wire nuts here. I think that one of them's beat. Like, they're real old wire nuts, like they're vintage, like when they first started making wire nuts back in the day. I'll see you guys in the next one. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. Anybody that knows it, like a little bit more about this motor, you know, chime in. Remember, it's got this real short elbow here. I'm almost positive that will be an indicator of a little bit more of what it is. I'm going to see if I can find any more information. I don't see anything on the block. There should be something on the tin. There's not a lot left of that tin. So as I'm putting that back on, hopefully I do all that before I do this video and release all the parts of the last part of the video, and maybe we'll have a little bit better understanding by the time the series is over. 3 parts. I know it's a lot, but there was a lot here, and I didn't want to skip too much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Archer's Garage!
Old Yeller, old Yeller, old Yeller.